You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. Crashing through the lies and disinformation. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
We're live, my friends. It's Sunday, the 12th day of April, 2015. Well, 3 days ago, the National Guard came out and said that Infowars.com was not welcome at a so-called dirty bomb exercise in Southern California that ties into the major Jade Helm operations coming up in a few months. And now we know why. We ended up getting sent footage from that event that they didn't want us at, and it was a crowd control, basically martial law operation. That video's up on Infowars.com. That said, I'm not going to really get into that issue today. We've been covering that a lot. The things we're going to be breaking down are Legion. Tony Blair, former Prime Minister of England, big globalist, has come out, and basically even British newspapers are calling him a megalomaniac, saying democracy doesn't work. The answer basically is totalitarianism. And he says he's not happy with what governments are doing, so he wants to head up a corporate global governance. Well, it's a corporate global governance we're already in, but then they're blaming what's happening in our nations on the globalist policy, so their answer is, give us more power. He's on the cover of Newsweek saying democracy isn't working. Just like Newsweek says, the case for killing Granny. And he's also come out and said that England can't leave the euro, that will cripple the nation. That's because 83%, according to Lord Monckton, and it's admitted by their parliament, of their laws in the UK are made by the EU. Just like most of our laws are now made by these unelected global bodies. I had a fellow walk up to me last night at a movie theater, and he said, have you heard of the Global Leadership Council? And I went, yeah, it's a Rockefeller spinoff. And he said, but they have their own security council. All these powerful people are on it. And I said, yeah, there's over 50 of these groups. It's all run by the same people to create the illusion that all these corporate institutions and all these governmental institutions want what's being set up now. But it's a couple hundred of the same people that run all these major global institutions. People like Hillary Clinton, who has announced she's running for president. Today, we're going to be playing her announcement video that's truly disgusting about fighting for the little guy against the establishment. That'd be like the Queen of England putting out a video about fighting against the establishment. It makes me truly want to throw up. She admits she's going to use the Obama strategy. Advisors, Hillary will mimic Obama's re-election campaign. So with Obama, it's all race diversion. With her, it'll all be feminism. And that's what Greenwald's saying. There's a graphic on the front page of Infowars.com. Glenn Greenwald, opposition to her, meaning Hitlery. I mean, if Obama's the black Hitler, she definitely is the female Hitler. They go, how dare you say that of our Lord and Savior? Whatever. Opposition to her is going to be depicted as misogynistic. It's going to be this completely symbolic message that's going to overshadow the fact that she'll do nothing but continue everything in pursuit of her own power. Well, beyond her own sickening power, she's totally blackmailed and totally compromised. So we're going to look at Hillary, get Rand Paul's powerful response to Clinton. Obama has met with Raul Castro in Panama. We'll give you details of that. Castro absolves Obama of fault for U.S. imperialist aggression. What a sick joke. We'll look at revealed U.S. government programs secretly injected citizens with plutonium and uranium. More out on that. Mexico murders. New arrests and slayings of 43 college students who dared protest the mayor's wife. Boy, they could take some freedom down in Mexico. Instead, I've got stacks of news articles here about how all sex is rape on colleges and all these fake reports from Rolling Stone and others making up rapes to make the cause celeb that men are bad raping women, and that's the epidemic, while meanwhile, globally, all hell breaks loose and humanity itself is under attack. That's coming up, plus breathtaking footage from NASA astronauts spacewalking with GoPros. The video's on Infowars.com raw. Stay with us. Michelle at some point and say that you're racist and against women if you don't vote for her. And they're already announcing, less than 2 hours after she made her formal announcement, that they'll be running a repeat of the whole Obama run, where if you don't support her, you are anti-woman. Wasn't hard to guess that that was going to be the case. Hillary says that she's going to be crusading, is her words, for the middle class and the common person against the elites. That's why she is basically bought and paid for by Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, the mega banks, supports Obamacare, gang raping everybody's medical records and jacking up your prices as the insurance companies worldwide are in an orgy of profits over the giant screw job that is Obamacare that was written with the Republican leadership involved. Advisors, Hillary will mimic Obama's re-election campaign. That's right. Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign will center on boosting economic security for the middle class and expanding opportunities for working families, while casting the former senator and secretary of state as a tenacious fighter, able to get results, two senior advisors said Saturday. President Barack Obama all but endorsed her, saying, "I think she would make an excellent president." We're going to play her new promo video here in a moment that is her formal announcement. Continuing here, there's a disgusting quote in here again about how she's going to fight for the little guy. Oh, hell no, Clinton's stale presidential plan wrong for the nation. An article out of the New York Post. The real issue is Clinton fatigue and national exhaustion from having been there, done that too many times before. Absolutely. The public gets that we don't want another Bush. We don't want another Clinton. I forget who said it, but the presidency is not a crown to be passed back and forth between two families. I mean, pretty soon we'll just have one family in charge. It'll be like North Korea. We'll have a communistic royal house. Rand Paul slams Hillary Clinton's grand hypocrisy. I think the thing it is about the Clintons is that there's a certain sense that they think they're above the law. We've got a clip of what he had to say today on Meet the Press. And then we'll get to some other clips.
I think the thing is about the Clintons is that there's a certain sense that they think they're above the law. And I think there's also this grand hypocrisy for the Clintons in the sense that we've got this whole thing, this war on women thing that they like to talk about, and yet Hillary Clinton has taken money from countries that rape victims are publicly lashed. In Saudi Arabia, a woman was gang raped by 7 men. She was publicly lashed 90 times, and then she was convicted of being in the car with an unmarried man. We should be boycotting, voluntarily boycotting a country, not buying stuff from a country that does that to women.
So you want to boycott? So if you're president of Saudi Arabia, you're no longer an ally.
Well,
you're done.
I think that's a little different than what I'm saying. I'm talking about, remember with South Africa,
okay.
You know, there was much of it that was voluntary boycott, right, saying, you know what, personally, you know, I'm going to try to tell my university not to invest in this country because of what they do to women. And see, I think I would expect Hillary Clinton, if she believes in women's rights, she should be calling for a boycott of Saudi Arabia. Instead, she's accepting tens of millions of dollars. And I think it looks unseemly, and there's going to be some explaining she's going to have to come up with.
That is an incredibly pro-human statement. It's not pro-woman or pro-man. It shouldn't be man or woman's issues. It's human issues. And do we want our daughters to live under that type of oppression? Do we want to support countries like Saudi Arabia that are so oppressive, they make apartheid look like a cakewalk? I mean, Saudi Arabia is a lunatic asylum with the elite they've got over there, completely above the law, involved in every form of bizarre decadence you can imagine for the elites, but not the general public. And you never hear a word, as Infowars.com points out on a weekly basis, from Gloria Steinem or any of the feminists about ISIS murdering women en masse all over the world, our government funding them, on and on and on. It's just all, you support Hillary and what she wants, government-run health care, victim disarmament, open borders, higher taxes, or you're against women. And then she puts out her campaign ad, lesbians hugging and basically kissing on each other. I'm going to talk about this later in the broadcast, but here's the deal. I am sick of being force-fed this. It's not that I'm not open-minded and I can't handle it. It's I want my kids to be able to go to school and not be taught in the first grade about Heather having two mommies or Billy having two daddies. I mean, that's just not what you're supposed to be teaching kids. You want to re-engineer society. You don't like what the parents may be teaching them, so you want to get in there first and set the precedent that you are the parents. In fact, I'm going to talk about this later in the broadcast. I went and saw last night, because it's in theaters, the movie about James Randi. I was robbed going and seeing An Honest Liar. It's got one of the highest Rotten Tomatoes ratings, 98% ever. It's got a 7.9 on IMDb, and it was unwatchable. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I'm here to tell you, all it was clips off YouTube. The first half. The second half was nothing but him and his husband, an illegal alien from Venezuela, and it was all about legalizing the open borders and what a victim he is, living in some mansion with his 40-year younger boyfriend. And I had to sit there and watch it because James Randi has attacked me many times for made-up stuff. And so I wanted to go see it. And what he did was expose a lot of real frauds, you know, preachers that have people with radio transmitters reading into their ears, you know, carnival-type stuff. And, of course, James Randi is a former carny himself, so it takes one to know one. But then he basically just endorses socialism and liberalism on every front and attacks me. We have a clip of it coming up because I think water fluoridation is bad. I mean, there's 25 Harvard studies that came out 2 years ago. Reuters reported saying it lowers IQ and gives you bone cancer. You've got almost 100% of the scientists of the EPA 2 separate times sending a letter saying take it out. It's hydrofluorosilicic acid. It's incredibly toxic and deadly. But it doesn't matter. He's got a beard. He talks with a lisp. He's the authority. And he gave me the Pegasus Top Award in, you know, Pig That Flies. In 2013, he's like Snopes. He just sits there on the mountain and just says, Alex Jones is a fraud because he sells water filters that supposedly cut out fluoride. That's like saying, Valvoline's a fraud. They supposedly sell oil filters that make your engine run longer. I mean, water fluoridation is the biggest fraud out there, but water filtration is the biggest part of civilization. I mean, you go to any rich person's house, and they've got like a $30,000 in-house filtration system. You go to any fancy restaurant, it's filtered water. I mean, everybody knows about filters. But no, James Randi says I'm a con man because I sell well-known, top-of-the-line, inexpensive fluoride filters that